Hello people, another beautiful night. Yeah, it's me again. Hope y'all doing good and your five senses work. Look, the Dark Knight series it can't be beaten right now. The Dark Knight series can't be beaten. You know, I know there's a new Batman movie coming out, and listen to this. Says, I'm just gonna read 2 paragraphs of this because this is funny to me when I heard what they're trying to do to the Dark Knight series. So listen to this. It says here, while speaking to Empire, Clark made a note of a friendly competition at play, stating, "I have said this to Chris Nolan directly. Look, we're trying to be the best Batman ever made, and we're going to try to beat you." Clark confidence stemmed from Reeves hope to explore an element of Bruce Wayne that audience have yet to experience. Nolan offers a realistic rendition of Batman that felt grounded within a reality that audience could relate to on a universal level. One of the biggest knock against superhero genre is the lack of humanity embedded within its protagonist. While Reeves hoped to alleviate with a deeper dive, Matt is interested in pushing the character to his emotional depth and shaking him to his core, indicated Clark, whose optimism remained relatively high. So let me get this straight. You're interested in pushing the character to his emotional depth and shaking him to his core? Well, if that's the case, then the Dark Knight Batman Begins covers it. The Dark Knight covers it, and the Dark Knight Rises. So you're talking about shaking him to his core. Let me get this straight. So when he got murdered, when his parents got murdered, when Batman got murdered, his parents got murdered, and then to sit in the courtroom with the person who took your parents' life. That's shaking him to his core, right? And if you're going to talk about emotional depth, then what about his relationship with his girlfriends from the Dark Knight? The Dark Knight series covers all that, whatever you guys are trying to do in this new Batman movie. Okay? Because the Dark Knight trilogy right now can't be beaten. And one thing about we don't want revisionist history, because we already know about Bruce Wayne's parents. We already get all that. Okay? We don't want revisionist history. So instead of saying, well, you know, we're trying to beat the Dark Knight trilogy, what you guys should have done was this. You should have said, look, no, we're gonna ride this wave that the Dark Knight trilogy created for Batman and take it from there. But once you guys came out and said, oh, we're trying to beat the Dark Knight trilogy, then you got your work cut out. Then you got your work cut out for you, because these 3 movies, 1, 2, and 3, ain't no pushover. Okay, and then you got to come up with your own signature moves too, because in the Dark Knight trilogy, when Batman hangs upside down and snatches a person in a movie is one thing, but now to do it in a video game, like this one, this one, and this one, it's a whole nother ball game. Okay, so beating the Dark Knight trilogy is going to be real tough. What this new Batman movie, the Batman is 3 hours. There are some scenes in the Dark Knight trilogy that can't be duplicated or copied. Well, like in the first movie, this one, Batman Begins, when the bats made the logo, can't be copied or be reprinted. Like when Batman fell in the cave and those bats around him. I mean Bruce Wayne. That's one scene. But when he got older, then he went in the caves with the flashlight, and the bats surround him. Then can't be duplicated. What about when Bruce Wayne went to go train with the League of Shadows, and he met Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul had that little bowl mixing around that little little potion, and he told him to breathe, and he inhaled it, and then Ra's al Ghul, the ninjas came up behind him, and their eyes turned blue, and they were training, and the ninjas were changing formation. I said to myself, I was like, could you imagine if the Shaw brothers, for all you people who love martial art, could you imagine the Shaw brothers training and sparring while the ninjas are changing our formation? It is going to be tough to beat the Dark Knight trilogy with the Batman movie. It's going to be real tough. Okay? I mean, Scarecrow brought the noise in this one. He wasn't no joke. Okay? Ra's al Ghul wasn't no joke either. Okay? What about this one? The Dark Knight. The one with the Joker and Two-Face. And the amount of problems they created. And then when the Joker had the girl hanging out on the ledge, had her hanging out on a ledge in a high-rise building. Batman told her to let her go, and she's sitting there doing all this screaming, "Ah, come save me!" Then Batman saved her because he loved her, and then she gonna turn her head, take a deep breath. She loved it. Then she gonna look him in the face. Don't do that again. What does that scene tell you about today's women? Oh, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be tough, man, to beat this movie. Beat the first one. That's number one. And even beating this one, you're talking about emotions. This one had relationship issues, man. Okay, and then you had Alfred with his issues, man. Okay, pushing him to emotional depth. What about this one when Bane, Batman and Bane got into a fight, and he was placed in a pit, and there's only one way out, up. Yeah. Whatever they're trying to do in the new Batman movie, the Dark Knight trilogy covers it. It's gonna be real tough to beat these three movies. And then you got 3 games to four games to go with it. Go with them. It's gonna be real challenging, man. You know, see, the thing about Batman movies is this. You know, there's too many revisionist history. You know, so if you're talking about bringing the Riddler back, and then bringing Penguin back, and then you're gonna try to bring up the story again of his parents, forget it. Okay. You might as well forget it. These 3 movies cannot be beaten right now because there's so much scenes and detail in it. Bane wasn't no joke, man. Bane wasn't no joke. The amount of problems he was creating. You know? Yeah. And then Alfred was giving, Bruce Wayne problems. You know, he doubted him. You know, and he was worried about him. You know, and then what? Alfred tried to use Bruce Wayne's girlfriend against him. Yeah. Good luck trying to, not luck, but it's going to be challenging to beat the Dark Knight trilogy. It's going to be real challenging, you know. The Dark Knight trilogy is no pushover. No, you know. Man, what? This one? Yeah, I mean, this one is no pushover. There's so much scenes that can't be copied or duplicated. problems the Joker was given in this one. Yeah. And then this one, yeah. It's going to be real challenging. To me, beating the Dark Knight trilogy is called jealousy and envy right now. So it's, the new producer of the Batman movie should have came out and said, "Look, we're gonna ride this wave that the Dark Knight trilogy created." You know, but once Matt came out and said, "Oh, we're gonna try to beat you. You're gonna take on these 3 movies." Then when it comes to execution in the Batman movie, you can't miss. You cannot miss. You miss the first one time, forget it. You're not beating these three movies. No, nah, no. These 3 movies, man, they're really good. They are really good. I mean, I myself watch them over and over again because they're that good. You know, like what was that? Scarecrow, Exile, or Death. What Commissioner Gordon say? Oh, if you think we're gonna walk out on that ice, you got another thing coming. And then Scarecrow was like, death by exile. So, yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's going to be a challenge, man. The thing is, it's not about beating the Dark Knight trilogy. It's about, riding the wave that the Dark Knight trilogy create, and then try to come up with something new. But if you're going to do revisionist history, you can't miss. You can't miss. You can't miss. And it's not about, oh well, I like this person as Batman, or I like this person as Batman. The Dark Knight trilogy just can't be beaten right now. When you really sit down and watch these movies, each one of them, they're just that good. And they came out at the right time. They came out at the timing was just right for it when they came out. And then you got some games to go along with them. So yeah, from Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight, and of course the Return to Arkham series. So Christian Bale now is like in the clouds to himself when it comes to this whole Batman series. These 3 movies are the gold standard right now when it comes to Batman movies. Let's see here. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. These 3 movies are the gold standard when it comes to Batman movies. So Matt talking about he's coming out with the Batman. They can't miss. They cannot miss from start to finish. They cannot miss. If they miss one time in that movie, they will never beat the Dark Knight series. Okay? Because you already got. If you're gonna give us a revisionist history of his parents, you failed. If you brought back old villains that we already seen before, you have failed. So you can't miss with this one. You can't miss. And the Batman universe got all kind of villains in it, so you got to give new villains new spotlight. That's what's gonna keep the Batman series. The Dark Knight trilogy is keeping the Batman series alive, but when it comes to Batman movies, man, they have to follow the blueprint. A Batman movie has to follow the blueprint of the Dark Knight trilogy. They just have to, They got to come out with new villains and give the new villains spotlight. If a Batman movie doesn't, then it's a failure, a complete failure. What the Dark Knight trilogy has Catwoman in it. Um, I mean, actually, the Dark Knight Rises has Catwoman in it, and that Catwoman was no joke. So, yeah, it's just gonna be a challenge, man. It's gonna be, these three movies are the gold standard when it comes to Batman. I mean, even Batman Superman with Ben Affleck in it. I mean, the new Alfred was cool. The new Alfred was cool. The new Bat. I mean, I would say like the new with the Batmobile was the new Batmobile was cool. It just the one with Ben Affleck brought something was taking Batman in a new direction. But I wish he would have did a single Batman movie to himself. I wish he would have done it, but he didn't. But in Batman Superman, you saw how Ben Affleck played the role. But this one with Matt right now, when you come out and say, okay, well, you're trying to beat the Dark Knight trilogy, these three movies are the gold standard. And if you're gonna give us a revisionist history of his parents and how he became Batman, we already seen that before. You got to come up with something new, And it's not about beating the Dark Knight trilogy. It's about keep riding that wave and making Batman movies better. Better. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy sets the standard, and the blueprint and the blueprint. So now it's about taking that formula, the blueprint or map that the Dark Knight trilogy set out, and then take it from there. But to come out and say you're gonna beat these three, you're gonna beat this one, 2, and 3. Well, you cannot miss. You cannot miss. You already got some things working against you already. You already got some things working against you. As far as like revisiting the story of his parents, we already seen that. You're talking about pushing him to his emotional depth and core. Well, the Dark Knight trilogy already covers that. So yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy is no joke, man. They're no pushover, and you got some games to go along with it, and yeah, they're no pushover. So yeah, you guys got your work. Matt got his work cut out for him. When he say beating the Dark Knight trilogy, they just can't miss, man. They just can't miss. They mess up one time in that movie, it's a wrap. You can forget it. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Or Star Trek. Peace.